Hello and welcome. This lesson is intended to help you guide Lesson 3 Google Sheets exploration. And first, let's go over just a few basics about Google Sheets in case this is your first time with it. Across the top here are column headings, and they're labeled with letters. On the left here are column rows, and they're labeled with numbers. When I want to make a change to a whole column, I need to click the header. Same for a row. I want to click the row heading if I want to make a change to the whole row. Now, when we write when we try to identify a location on the spreadsheet, we need to use the column first, E, and then the letter of the row. So this would be E1. And Google Sheets is basically a giant calculator, so it only speaks numbers, cell addresses, and operators. So if we're writing words in here, it's not going to understand what we want it to do. A couple things that you may not be aware of. Multiplication is an asterisk sign, and so you're going to use Shift 8 on an English keyboard, and then division is the backslash, and that's in the bottom right corner. All right, so 1 through 6 is all about teaching students how to write formulas and what the benefit is. So if we go over here, number 1 says write 700 in cell A3. So I look at where A and 3 connect, and that's my A3, and 700 goes in there. Then I'm going to write 400 and B3. Then this number 3 has us writing an equation using numbers. So let's do that. So equals 700 minus 400. Anytime I get ready to finish a formula, I'm going to hit return, and formulas always begin with an equal sign. So once I do that, it gives me the answer, but I don't get to see my formula anymore. If I want to see my formula, I can come up here and I see that it's written above. Now this next one, we're going to write a formula too, but this time we're going to use our cell addresses. So equals, and I'm going to say A3 minus B3. And again, I hit return. Notice I started with that equal sign. And just to the glance, it looks exactly the same because they're both using the same numbers. But now watch what happens in 5 when we have to change 700 to 900. And I hit return, and all of a sudden Google Sheets recalculates for me. So that's the benefit of using cell addresses. They're just like variables. They use the number that's entered or evaluated for. So for number 6 here, it says compare the answer in C3 and C4. What do you notice? So the answer changed in C3 is what you're looking, or C4, what you're looking for there. And then what's the benefit of using the cell address? Well, Google Sheets will automatically recalculate the formula when a value changes. Okay, so now we're gonna learn a shortcut for writing formulas. So if I go here, it says that I need to, you can't really see that here, but we're gonna write a formula by clicking on the cell. So here I start with equals, I click on this cell, and then it tells me to add, and then I click on the next cell, and then if I hit return, it writes the formula for me. So this time we added, but the shortcut is that we can click and it'll actually write the cell address for us. One thing to notice though, one thing to be aware of when you do that is it's really easy. Like let's say I start to write a formula and I click in this cell and then I go click in this cell by accident. And then this cell, it changes each time. So sometimes students will get frustrated because they start clicking all over and they mess up their formula. And the best way to avoid that is, or to deal with it, is just to delete and have them start fresh. So what happened? Well, the cell address automatically populated. All right, so then this next part is where we're going to learn how to use a function called the sum function. So it says go to C14. So again, C, and then where 14 meets. All right, and it says to type equals sum. And I do that. I get lots of different sum functions, but we want the most basic one, which is always going to be at the top. Sum of a series of numbers and or cells. So I'm going to click that. And then this time I'm just going to type it. So I want it to take A14 and then add through B14. Let me just double check my Yep, through B14, and I'm gonna get my parentheses in there, and I'm gonna hit return. Okay, and then now this is something that's gonna happen to students too. Google Sheets is so smart, it wants to do all the work for me. So I wanna make sure that I'm not auto-filling. I hit the X here because I wanna do the work right now. We definitely want the students to do the work. So if we go back up there, we get to see our first function here. Um, Now, then the next part is about copying and pasting. So another really great thing about Google Sheets is if I take and I copy using shortcuts, for me, I'm on a Mac, so it's Command C, and I do Command V. If we go look at this, it was in row 14. Once we put it into row 15, it automatically adjusts. Okay, so the formula changed to include the new row number. Oops, I see an error there. I'm going to double click. And so change the row numbers for us. That's an excellent benefit of Google Sheets. And but it's really important that kids use the keyboard shortcuts, because if I just go copy like here and I go copy and then paste, it's only going to paste the number and not the formula. So they have to use keyboard shortcuts. Now, another way that they can copy and paste is to simply take and drag this. And so look, it did the same thing. It realizes now it's in row 16, it adjusted. So copying and pasting, dragging are two ways for us to duplicate a formula. All right, now this next part is really about just giving students a chance to play around in Google Sheets. If students finish early, they can work on this challenge part, and then it'll allow you time to go around and help students. So the first task just has them write 3 random numbers in here. And so once they get those in, then they're going to write some formulas. So write a formula that meets the following criteria. It has to use the 3 cell addresses and include 2 different operators. So I'm going to say equals, and then let's say I get that. I put a plus in there, my next number, and then I'm going to divide, and then I'm going to hit return. So once students write their formula, their job is to go into their calculator and double check that their formula is accurate. Remember, they can see them up top here. Now, one thing I want to show you that's really helpful, especially when we get into the budget, is sometimes students will have their numbers really off and you just can't figure out what's wrong. You can go up to view and then go to show formulas, and then it's going to show all the formulas. And this is a really great way to have 2 students sit side by side and look at each other's formulas and try to figure out that error. And that's it. So next lesson, you'll be learning how to set up the budget, and enjoy.